Hey! So, I wanted to talk about my dad today. This is Father's Day. We lost him December 20th. So, yeah, he lived the Andy Griffith experience, right? So, yeah, he did that. He lived the Andy Griffith experience. And then, later on in life, he became a police officer. This was in the 70s. He was a police officer. And then he met my mom while he was a police officer. And so he gave up policing. So, because my mom didn't think she could handle being married to a police officer. So anyway, so he moved from that career and did all that. And him and my mom had a family and stuff. They were foster parents before they had their actual kids. They were foster parents. And then once they had us, they kind of just moved away from it just because they had their own things going on and everything. So, but they always loved being foster parents. They both did. So that was in the 70s, 80s. They were married in the 70s and into the 80s. They were foster parents. My older brother was born in 79, so it would be a little before that, like right before that. So 70s, they were foster parents and stuff, and then they had they had us and stuff. And my dad, he worked full time and everything. And I just want to tell y'all, this man worked so many hours, like a lot. And then when I was young, I didn't realize it, but he worked so many hours, and then turned around, and he still made time for us. He would take us on vacations and we would go up to get snow cones, and he would take us to eat, and he just made time for us. He was a very good father, and I'm very grateful to have had a dad like that. Somewhere, I guess it's somewhere in the 70s, he got ordained to be a minister, and he was a minister since then. He took the path of policing and ministering and that sort of thing in life. That's what he wanted to do. So he did that. And then, like I said, when he met my mom, he changed careers. He started working with this company called Safeway back probably in the 80s, I guess. I don't know. But because like I said, he changed careers when they went to get married. So he worked for this place called Safeway for a very long time, retired from there. He did not know what to do with himself into retirement. He did not. He had always worked his whole life, and that's all he knew. That's all he wanted to do. You know, working was something he was passionate about. Which, as I say in another video, if you've seen any of my other videos, we talked about, we got a work ethic because of him. Like, he taught us, you work, you take care of yourself, you do what you have to do in life, right? So, look, we all picked up on it. And I'm very grateful to have had a father to teach me that stuff. Because it's just one of those things where I think if you haven't had a father in your life, then you probably understand what I'm saying. Because having that has structured me into my adulthood. So I'm very grateful to have had a father like that. He was very loving, caring, and he and my mom were just such a couple. And they were married 53 years, I think. Yeah, 53. I think it was something like 53. And never spent Christmas or birthday apart, right? Fast forward, they live their life. They're ministering. He's working. She worked too some, especially when she had to, because at some point, when I think I was about 9-ish somewhere, Dad broke his arm, and he had to. It was a period of time he couldn't work. He broke his arm really bad. It required surgeries and therapy and all this kind of stuff. So he was out of work for a while. So my mom stepped up at that point and worked. So things like that, that they were a team. And so, but he eventually got back to work and everything. And then fast forward, so they had that kind of life. They were a team. They did everything together. and all that kind of stuff. And our bond was really strong, my parents and stuff. So I got to grow up with that, and I'm very grateful that I had a dad that showed me how a man is supposed to treat his family, how a man is supposed to treat his wife, and things of that nature. Because I can only imagine it will be hard to learn it on your own out here. So I'm grateful that I had a dad that did show me those things. So fast forward, like I said, Dad was a minister and they did all the things together. Well, fast forward to I can't even remember when it actually all started, but he developed dementia. And so he and my mom, you know, he stayed. We aren't one to like immediately go to nursing homes or anything like that. So my mom was like, well, we're gonna, as long as we can, we're gonna, you know, he's gonna stay in the home, and you know, we'll just do what we gotta do, which is what we did. We did what we gotta do. And so if you've seen my other video about my mom, you know that at Mother's Day last year we lost Mom. So my brother and I took care of my dad, and 7 months later, you know, he had dementia, like I said, and so for 7 months we had him at our home. He lived with us, we took care of him full time, all of the things, because we also wanted him to be at home if he possibly could. Now I understand there are circumstances that you have to, like, you know, get medical assistance and stuff, but thankfully he was able to stay with us, and we were able to take care of him. Now, he required full-time care, but we were able to provide it, and for that I am so grateful. I don't know. That time is a blur, and I don't even know how we did it. Because I worked full-time, my brother was working, and we made it work. My brother had him full-time though, so thankfully, you know, his schedule allowed him to do that. His flexibility was there, so he was with my dad full-time, and I was with my dad all the other time that I wasn't at work. I was with Dad. You know, we just kind of, the three of us just like I say, I don't know how we did it, don't ask me. It was by the grace of the good Lord, because that's how we did it. That's it. That's all I there's no other way. I'm telling you, there's no other way. So fast forward to, you know, he's pretty bad. There are days he doesn't sleep, and then there are days that, like, he got to where, like, he wouldn't, like, eat actual food. And if you've had a dementia patient, or you know, you've been around that, you know what I'm talking about. So we did a lot of supplements and stuff like that, and yeah, to the point that he had to go into the hospital, and he ended up we didn't know, but throughout the years he had, and nobody told us, but he had kidney failure. And so we discovered he had kidney failure, and he was in the hospital for that. They got him back on his feet, and when he was in rehab, about a month, he was in rehab, and then they sent him back to the hospital because he regressed. And so past that point, he never got to come home. They, you know, like I said, he wasn't eating, he wasn't doing all the things. So, I mean, it was just, I had kind of some knowledge of dementia, a little. I mean, I knew very little. I had never taken care of dementia patients or anything, but I knew a little bit that once they stopped eating, that's a higher progress of the situation. So, I mean, I wouldn't say any of this was shocking to us, because we had been able to, one, brace ourselves for it, because we knew he had dementia, and we knew that at some point that part would come. Doesn't make it any easier. It was one of the hardest things we've ever dealt with. Okay? But Well, we got through it, and we got him, you know, like I said, we got him help and everything, but it was just one of those end stages of the disease. So, I mean, let me tell you, this man never gave up. Never, not once. He told us in the hospital. He told my little brother, he said, "Yep, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get me a motorcycle and I'm gonna go ride me a motorcycle." That's what he said. And we were like, "Yep, you are, sir. Yes, you are." He always wanted a motorcycle, or he always said he wanted a moped. He always said he was gonna get a moped, and then whenever he said that, we just started laughing. When my brother told me what he said, we just kind of started laughing because he always wanted something like that. A motorcycle, a moped, whatever. He never gave up on that. But let me tell you, this man was the most jovial man. Like, he never met a stranger. Never met a stranger. And then two, we were raised with so much love and laughter in our house, because my dad was just one of those persons that he was just so happy. I mean, he was just happy a lot. Yeah, he was just a very jovial person. There, like I said, he didn't meet a stranger. He didn't. And he was somebody that if you came to him with a situation, he would help you and talk you through it. He definitely, like, he was that kind of person. Like, you could tell him what was going on, and he could help you walk through it, and he would give you biblical principles to go by. So, I mean, I'm just very grateful. Yes, this is my first Father's Day without him, but also it's filled with a lot of gratitude toward him for just being a good parent, a good father, a loving father. And me being the only girl, like, I got to experience somebody that treated their family well. He did that. He did that for all of us. My mom, my brothers, me, his mother. I mean, when he had to take care of his own mother, which was motivation when we had to take care of him, we saw that side of him. So, I'm very grateful that I got to experience a father that was loving, caring to everyone that he loved. So, and it set the standard for me of what I expect and what I look for in people and things of that nature. So, I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm very grateful to God that I got to experience that. So, anyways, that's just a little bit about Dad, and I just kind of wanted to share what was going on with that, what's going on with Dad and his life, and it's a celebration. I mean, yeah, it stings that I don't get to tell him in person that I love him and I'm grateful for him and all of those things, but I am, and he knew, because I'm so thankful that in those final days we got to tell him and show him that we love him, and he knew exactly what we were saying and all of those good things. So, yeah. But thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and we'll chat more. All right, I love y'all. Bye.